Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. I'm Christine. I'm glad you're here. Welcome to another Scentsy video. Welcome to another Scentsy update. Ever since the CEO of the company announced changes Scentsy has to do to still be active, they're still continuing at the moment as a network marketing company, but drastic changes will be made starting April 1st and it will affect the distributors. Now, we will take a look today at somebody who is in Scentsy but who is not actively selling, trying to recruit a team. It's not somebody who wanted to make a business out of this, but who joined as a customer because they liked the product a lot, like so many people. The CEO of the company said, you know what, 75% of the people in our company are inactive. They're not distributors who regularly purchase products, and we need to change this. And this is one of the people who very likely falls into that category. The changes announced by Scentsy infuriated a lot of the distributors, and it led to the distributors actually starting to make a profit and loss statement. In this case, somebody started to calculate how much money they spent over the course of the last year on Scentsy products. And somebody who viewed that video said, why don't you do a list how much money you have spent overall in your time in Scentsy? And that is what the person does, and that is what we're going to watch today. And I have to say, I have mad respect for that somebody is able to take a look at their finances and see, hey, how much money did I actually spend on scented wax? I like the product, I like how they smell, but how much money did I spend? And is that a route I want to continue to go down? So let's take a look what the announcement from the CEO of Scentsy had on its distributors, in this case as an example of someone who is not high up in the company, but who joined because of the products.
Hey everyone, it's Melanie here from Bright House Scents, and I have another numbers video to share with you today. So in my last video, I dove into how much did I spend on Scentsy last year. In general, I want to rein in my spending on wax, but I was like, I'm so interested to see how much did I actually spend on Scentsy last year. And I love Scentsy wax, so I knew it was a lot, but I didn't realize how much it really was. So yeah, then somebody commented on my video and was like, I wonder how much you've spent since you've been with Scentsy. Or wouldn't it be interesting to see how much you've spent since the beginning? And I was like, I don't even want to know. But then I was like, actually, I do want to know. And I'm gonna pull the numbers. So I pulled these numbers yesterday. It took me a long while to go through because I started with Scentsy as a consultant in 2013. And, you know, I've placed lots of orders. Some of these orders are like customer orders, or some are mine, or in some of these orders, I would have used credits that I would have had from like a previous month's commission, and I would have applied that to the order. So I wanted to pull the numbers of everything that I spent out of pocket. So these numbers will include anything I spent on a club shipment, or anything I spent on an order for myself, or anything I spent on a flash sale, or the $12 that it costs for me to have my website. And I've gone through bouts with Scentsy where I haven't had the website. I just haven't been paying that $12. It kind of depends. So it took me a while to pull the numbers, but I did. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna share them. I mean, why not? We already dove in. Let's do the deep dive, right? So I have been a consultant since 2013. I'm gonna share with you how much I have spent every year. I'm gonna break it down, and then I'm gonna give you the grand total.
This will be really interesting, and that is an effect that the changes announced by the CEO had on a lot of people. The issue with Scentsy is that they do not have new customers, new eyes on the product. And I do believe that Scentsy will change their business model at some point. I don't think that they can keep up the network marketing side of the business structure. I do think that in 26, we will very likely see changes. And that is why they're now currently focusing on getting new customers and new eyes in the company, because they didn't really speak about the consultants that much in that presentation. I will link the video up here if you want to take a look. Their main issue is that they didn't have enough new customers, and the people who are in the company are not necessarily active. And one of the reasons why that is an issue is because the people, the top people, the leaders, the ones with the biggest teams, they have bragged in their team calls that they were able to flip the hosts, the customers. So they turned customers into distributors because it was more beneficial for them to have them on their team as team members. But that means that most of the customers have now been recruited into Scentsy as distributors. And she is one of those examples. She made maybe a commission here or there. She was able to use the perks and the benefits on other purchases, on other products, because she wanted the wax and she wanted to use the product because she really liked them, and she never fully committed to recruiting people and to selling to a lot of other people. She wanted her hands on the products, and I think that she's a good example of the majority of people in Scentsy. Customers who should stay customers, who shouldn't become distributors, but because it was beneficial for somebody else, they got recruited, and that is an issue Scentsy now has.
The grand total is so insane. It's insane. And I'm like, oh my gosh, in my mind, I do keep track of like how much I'm spending, or so I thought I did, right? Like I'll know in my mind, like, okay, my club cost this and I spent this much in a flash sale, and like I'll, keep general track of it. And it's like, I use the product. I love it. I warm wax every single day. I work from home. I'm home all day, every day, and I warm wax every single day. So it's like, I'm not spending in vain. I love what I'm spending on and I use it all the time. It's not like I have wax just sitting there going bad or anything. I warm through it, but nonetheless.
And I think that's a good example. And that's also what anti-MLM creators say so many times. Make sure you keep track of your expenses, because a lot of people in network marketing companies probably believe that they spend with caution and that they make revenue, but do they make a profit? And unless you write that down, you won't have clarity, and that is scary. I completely get that, and I'm grateful that she does that she will walk us through her yearly spendings on Scentsy products.
Like, even still, the total number is so ridiculous that I'm like, okay, no, I gotta make changes. So I'm gonna break it down for you.
The total number is so ridiculous, I'm gonna make changes. Let's keep that in mind.
So 2013, the year that I started with Scentsy, I spent $900. 2014, I spent $3,285. So from $900 in the very first year to $3,285. Now, sure, I was probably buying more warmers and stuff like that when I first started with Scentsy. Over the last few years, I don't really buy warmers as much now. It's mostly wax, but nonetheless, this is a lot of this is wax. Okay, 2015, $4,489. 2016, $4,200. $4,200. 2017, I reined it in 2017, $1,900 compared to like $4,200 the year before. 2017, I reined it in to $1,900. 2018 was a year that I didn't purchase any Scentsy for myself. I still placed orders for customers, but I cut my website. I didn't have my website going, and I didn't personally buy anything Scentsy. No warmers, no wax, no nothing, because I had so much wax. So in 2018, I warmed through my entire wax stash. Like everything I had in my stash, I warmed through until I was down to no more Scentsy bars in my stash. So I spent no money, not a single dollar in 2018, not a single order for me. So yeah, I used all my wax. So then 2019, I was like, okay, well, all my wax is gone. Let me start my purchasing again. And I did. So 2019, I spent $1,341. 2020, $3,510. 2021, $4,427
on scented wax so that your home smells well. I'm also somebody who likes if things or humans smell well. I dress every day with a perfume of my choice. I don't really care that much about makeup and about clothing and about hair, but if I smell nice, I feel like I'm perfectly dressed for the day. And I also have scented candles in my home. I like them, but that is wild. Can you imagine what a house must smell like? And I also work a good amount of time from home. I do go to the office, I work in a hybrid model, but that is a lot. That is a lot of product. And I'm really grateful that she walks us through these numbers step by step, because that can be really, really scary. Thousands of dollars per year. And she had 1 year where she didn't spend anything because within that 1 year, she burned through her stack.
2022, $5,365. 2023, I reined it in again. I reined it in a little bit. I mean, I didn't rein it in that much, but I reined it in a little bit from the previous years. $2,200 in 2023. I'm like, thought I was spending $2,200 every year. No, I'm up in the $4,000 and $5,000. 2024, which was last year, I shared this number already in my previous video, $5,766. So in 2024, I spent the very most I've ever spent on Scentsy ever. In 2018, I spent nothing. And then the very least amount that I've spent outside of 2018 spending nothing was when I first started as a consultant. In 2013, I spent $900. Okay, are you ready for the grand total?
Yeah, please.
Of everything that I have spent on Scentsy from 2013 to the end of 2024. So this is what, 11 years. 11 years that I've been with Scentsy. In 11 years, I have spent $37,383. I have no words. I have no words. So in my last video, a lot of people were like, hey, no judgment, right? And I appreciated that. It was so nice. It was so refreshing. We have a really great wax community and people are so supportive. And I appreciated that people were like, hey, you spent a ton in 2024, no judgment over here. You're allowed to judge now. You could judge. All you need to do is put an exclamation in the comments and I'm gonna be like,
That is so much money. I mean, granted, that is over the course of 11 years, 37,000 Canadian dollars. How much would that be in euros? Not sure. Maybe 25,000 euros? That could be the down payment for a nice home. 37,000 Canadian dollars. And it's not about judging her. I'm really grateful that she spoke about this. And she said, you know what? I feel really disrespected by Scentsy. And that is really what sparked me looking into how much money do I spend. I never wanted to build this truly as a business. I like the product, but I got carried away. And this business structure very likely also helps. She has a job, she works from home, and then she enjoys those scents. And if you surround yourself with other Scentsy people who sell the products, who buy the products, it also seems normal that you spend so much money. What Scentsy did was they did cut down on the discount you can get for bundles. They changed a lot. We were 15% to now 10%. So the customers and the distributors, they have to spend more money to get the same amount. And then the personal sales volume that the distributors have to follow regularly, that has been upped by 50. So the people who formerly had to sell 200 in sales volume now have to do 250. Otherwise, they're not able to get 25% commission anymore on the products they sell. Now they fall down to 20% for those months where they're not able to reach 250. Well, that will happen in April when this becomes active. And a lot of distributors were really mad about this. This is one of the results that people said, you know what? Let me really check how much money did I spend.
Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. I'm gonna respond with 3 exclamations. Oh my gosh, $37,000 that I have spent on Scentsy. Okay, so why am I going here? Why am I reevaluating all of a sudden?
She seems to be more shocked than the people in her comments, though. I think that is so eye-opening when you see how much money did I spend on smelly wax. Ooh.
How much I'm spending and what I'm, like what my numbers are and that type of thing. First and foremost, I've always thought that I've been keeping track in my mind, but clearly I haven't, not to the degree that I thought I was. And, Scentsy recently made some changes that do impact consultants and customers too. And, one of the changes really bothered me. They're changing the commission structure. And one of them I was kind of like, this bothers me. And it all sucks. The changes are not good in general, but I get that, you know, a business has to make changes, and I'm here for it. It's fine. Every business has to make changes. Businesses have to increase prices and all that. One of the changes, which was to the commission structure for consultants, I was like, I don't really like that. And I'm a Scentsy consultant, so it would impact me.
She's referring here to the 200 PRV that will be changed to 250. They have to sell more or purchase more to get a higher commission.
But I don't run this as a business. None of this is for business. This is like me. These numbers are like how much wax I use. Like, this is me. Okay. So I don't run Scentsy as a business in any way. I use the discount just so that I can spend less. Cause like, imagine what these numbers would have been if I wasn't a consultant, if I wasn't getting discounts, and if I wasn't getting commission and then being able to apply commission to.
That is true. Then in that case, you would have very likely spent more, but would she also have purchased more if she wasn't that involved in this Scentsy surrounding with a lot of other Scentsy Huns, with a lot of other Scentsy consultants? Maybe she would have snapped out of that quicker, or she would have purchased at a different rate.
My next orders, right? So, but even still, even though I don't run this as a business, the commission structure is changing, and, you know, I didn't like the way Scentsy rolled that out. I didn't like the communication on that. I didn't like how they scrambled afterwards when they realized, like, ooh, there's a bit of an uproar here.
Yeah, it looks like Scentsy really just sent that out in written form, which is not a great way to communicate. And then in order to do damage control, the CEO went on a call and addressed the changes to the distributors. And that is yet again something that did rub the distributors the wrong way, understandably.
Maybe we should talk about this. Like, you know, maybe our CEO needs to jump on a Zoom call and like discuss these changes because people are not happy. So I just think like things could have been done differently. And that was the trigger that made me look at, what am I actually spending? You know, and I love Scentsy wax, and I'm going to continue to purchase Scentsy wax. And I don't foresee a world where I'm not doing that.
And that was the trigger. So without that communication, without the change in discount and in the compensation plan, without the way Scentsy communicated, she would have very likely continued to spend the money without doing the math. But now she did.
You know, I really love Scentsy, and I like the way the wax performs for the most part in my house, and there's a lot of favorite scents. But what I am reevaluating is, how much of my money do I want to give to Scentsy? And how, first of all, I'm reevaluating how much do I spend on wax. Like, that number needs to be cut down by like 75%. Like, not even just in half. I need to cut that number down by like 75%. But then I'm like, well, how much do I want to give to Scentsy? Because if Scentsy doesn't want to take the care to roll out changes the best way possible and show care for people, then for me, I don't want to give them as much of my money. I mean, I just don't. That's just how I feel about it.
And I think that a lot of people who do not want to make this their full-time business, who are not at the top of the compensation plan, they will do the very same thing. They will take a look, how much money do I spend? You can just scroll on YouTube. There's video over video over video. And they will reevaluate, do I really want to put money into the pockets of a company that treats us like this? Now, the top people, I will also speak about them in an upcoming video, show you an example of a top distributor, how they treat their team after the changes. It's a completely different feel. It's a completely different video. For them, it is important that people stay in the company and spend a lot of money. But this is the majority of people in Scentsy, probably the 75% of people who said the communication was bad, it's not beneficial for me, the products are not as cheap anymore. Why do I want to put more money into Scentsy's pockets? Let me do the math first. And now I'm going to drastically cut down the expenses on the wax. I still like the products, but I need to drastically reduce the amount of money that I give Scentsy. And I think that this is something we're seeing now over and over and over again, and it will not help Scentsy, and it will not help the top people.
So, and I spoke about this in a couple videos back. Feel free to go back and check that out. But yeah, so that's kind of like why I initially was like, let me dive into what I'm actually spending, what I've spent, and all that kind of stuff. So then I was like, okay, well, now that I know how much I've spent, which is insane. I know. Put the exclamation in the comments. I know. You judge me. You could feel I allow you to place the judgment, because this is insane and I'm judging me. I'm like, girl.
I think that's the main thing, right? When you realize how much money you spend on things that are nice, but they're not a necessity, you judge yourself or you're surprised at yourself. I don't think that other people are judging her. A lot of people are just really happy and are really grateful that she did the math, because it did spark an important conversation. So nobody is judging her, I think. Well, maybe some of the uplines. Please don't put out those numbers. Doesn't make us look good. But I'm grateful that she did, and hopefully this allows her also really to wake up and to monitor her finances.
What have you been doing? What is happening? And like, I thought I was tracking this in my mind, but I guess I wasn't. Okay, so then after I looked at all the numbers, I was like, how much wax do I actually have? Because I could do a whole nother year of not purchasing Scentsy and still have enough wax to warm through the whole entire year. But I don't want to do that. I like to purchase new collections. I love to do reviews on my channel and like go through the sniff sessions and warm things and see how they perform. Like, I enjoy those things. So I'm not gonna not purchase at all, but I need to rein it in big time. So I'm like, let me look at how much wax I actually have. So I broke it down into categories. First and foremost, I thought that I had about 200 bars in my wax stash. Now, at the beginning of January, when Scentsy launched the Bring Back My Bar, I did place a massive order. I really stocked up on a few of these new faves. So I'm not surprised to see the number that's here. And it's not even that excessive. And I know you're gonna hear the number and you're gonna be like, girl, it is so excessive. But like, for me and how much I warm through, it's not that excessive. It's still excessive, but it's not as extreme as like the numbers of how much I spent. So we're gonna go through how much wax I have, and I've broken it down into different categories, ranging from wax that like I don't like, I can't warm, all the way up to the loves of my life.
This will be interesting. Now, if she suspects that she has 200 of those wax bars, she's burning through 200 of these in a year. That doesn't sound like a normal customer experience. Maybe for people who are really fans of Scentsy, but it does sound like a lot of product. But let's listen what else she has to say.
Okay, so let's start with the number of Scentsy bars that I have that I can't warm. I mean, like, I dislike these Scentsy bars. Some of these might have come in bundles where I bought the bundle because there was other bars I liked, but these bars I can't warm. And I have tried to warm all of them because I try to give every Scentsy bar like a chance and just see if it, changes on warm or whatever.
That is kind of the tricky part about bundles. If you can get something for cheaper, in this case Scentsy has lowered the prices for the bundles or the discount to 10% from 15 to 10%. In that case, you have something in there that you might not like. And then that is the residue you have at home.
So I have 9 bars in my collection that I cannot warm. They're as good as garbage to me. Like, I just cannot. Then the next category is indifferent. So I can warm it, but I'm like, meh, I never need to smell this again. But it also isn't gross. It's just like, I'll toss a cube in my bathroom, or I'll put this like in my basement on a day I'm not really going to be down there. I'm pretty indifferent to it, and like I wouldn't repurchase it, So I have 10 bars like that. Then the next category is I enjoy it, but I wouldn't repurchase it. So I'm gonna really enjoy it while it's going, but I would not repurchase these bars. I have 40 bars like that. Then the next category is I enjoy it and I would repurchase it, but it's not necessarily like a love of my life, because the last category is love. So I have 101 Scentsy bars that I enjoy and I would repurchase, but they're not necessarily like the loves of my life.
That is 170 bars already. That is a lot. To have those at home, and I mean, wow, she really put a lot of work into this to really see what scents do I like and what am I indifferent to. So you already have 160, 170 of those, and you're not even a big fan of these. I mean, it's rather easy to cut back on these, right? That's a lot of wax.
I don't have to put them in a Scentsy club or anything like that, but thoroughly enjoy them while I have them, and when they come back, I do repurchase them. Now, the love category.
And that is kind of the difficult part, the Scentsy Club. Scentsy Club is pretty much an auto shipment, and Scentsy has given quite an incentive to the people. It's pretty much an auto shipment where you can set how many times do you want to get shipped certain products. You can remove products. You can also push this out. But once you have removed a product that has been discontinued with Scentsy, you will not get your hands on these products ever again. So if there's a fragrance, if there's a scent that Scentsy doesn't produce anymore, anymore. If you have it in your Scentsy club, you can still get your hands on this because Scentsy will produce this scent for you. You can reduce the amount of bars you want to get. That's why a lot of people get a lot of bars from scents they like, although they have been discontinued. But once you lower the amount, you will get less and less of these products. And it's a smart move from a business side, but this Scentsy club, that's auto shipment, is very likely one of the reasons why that Scentsy distributors, or rather customers, have so much product at home that they don't need, why they spend so much money on those wax cubes, wax bars, and why they have so much stuff at home that they can never burn through because they just want to try it out. And if you get sent those regularly then in an auto shipment, I mean, the flow of Scentsy bars to your home never stops.
Now the love category. These are bars that I love. Like if there was no limit to my Scentsy club, I would have, these are the bars that would be in my Scentsy club. I love them. These are bars that I have stacks of. Like I might have 15 of the same bar, you know, like banana nut bread, for example. It's in Bring Back My Bar right now. You can get it right now. It's
no banana
awesome.
for me.
I love it. I've loved it since the very beginning of Scentsy, and I think I have like 20 something bars, right? Or maybe not quite, but anyway, somewhere in between that area. And I just recently stocked up on it, and I had it in my Scentsy club. So for the loves, the bars that I love and adore, I have 164 Scentsy bars. So for a grand total of 324 Scentsy bars that are currently in my stash. Now, that does not include bricks. I have 15 Scentsy bricks that are in my stash as well.
Bricks are like 4 times the size of bars.
So 324 bars plus 15 Scentsy bricks. That's more than enough for me to warm through an entire year of Scentsy, a year plus, not just a year, even more than a year, not make another purchase, and love every second of my home being like smelling amazing, right? So I could go through 2025 without making any purchases, but that's just not realistic for me. I need to set like a realistic goal of how much am I gonna spend? What am I gonna spend it on? So what I did is I canceled both of my Scentsy clubs, and I've decided I'm just gonna purchase some of the new collections that come out. If they intrigue me, I'm gonna try them, see if I find some really great bars, and then if I love them, I'll stock up on a few of them, and then just keep it moving on to the next scent, as opposed to holding on to the scents that I love, right? Because
that is so interesting. And if other people follow her example, if other people go through the numbers, how much money did I spend? Least of all the people who really want to have this as a business, who think that they actually make a side income, a side hustle, when they list how much money did I spend, how much money did I make, very likely realize very quickly, did I even make a profit? Probably not, because the numbers are abysmal. I took a look at the German income disclosure statement for 23, and the people in the company, on average, over the course of the entire year, made 499 euros. Those are the people that have been with the company for more than a year, and the people in group 2, they make even less. Those are the people who haven't been in Scentsy for 12 months. They have been in the company for less. So if people follow suit and they also take a look at their numbers and then they cancel pretty much their auto shipment, and apparently she had more than one Scentsy club, then they will spend a lot less money, and a lot less money regularly, which means that Scentsy will have less revenue, less profit yet again. And Scentsy, the corporate side of the company, as well as the top people, they will be able to feel it. It's not a good sign for Scentsy. It's a good sign for the distributors who are just in it because they wanted to make a side hustle. If they realize, oh, let me go through the numbers myself. Did I even make a profit? I need to make changes. But also for customers, once they realize how much money they have spent. Because the Scentsy Club is really an important tool to get a lot of money out of the customers. I mean, that's essentially what she is, right? And she should have stayed a customer, but if somebody tells you, hey, you could get your hands on the product, you could have certain perks, why don't you join us as a distributor? Then that is an issue. And every network marketing company that doesn't monitor that has a problem. Why don't you allow customers to just be customers? Because it's more beneficial for the company and also for the top people if they become distributors. And for them to really watch out how much money they spend, it will be a rough year. 25 will very likely not be a great year for Scentsy. I will keep track of that. I will continue to follow that. I'd be surprised if they don't change their business model in 26 at the latest.
Someone made a comment in my last video, and I so appreciated this. She broke down like the psychology of scent. And she was like, you know, it releases like hormones and it gives you that feel-good feeling, and then you get like addicted to it, right? And then it's like that fear of losing the scent, and then, you know, boom, the club is 10 bars, the club is 20 bars, the club is 30 bars, because like, what if they don't bring this back? What if? And then it's like that fear. And she broke down the psychology of it, and I was like, yes. You know, you don't think about the psychology of scent. I mean, I have tons of scent memories with lots of scent. So, you know, I know that there's a connection there.
Yeah, and it's not just about scents. If you are in Scentsy, you're in a cult. A lot of people don't want to hear this and they don't want to see this. But if other people benefit of you purchasing a lot of products, having multiple Scentsy Club orders open so that you can regularly purchase the products, then the people at the top, your uplines, they will make a profit. And if you operate in a cult-like environment, the cult will not point out to you that you operate in a cult. In this case, she's a very typical example, very likely in Scentsy. I liked the products, then I got recruited as a customer distributor because I wanted certain perks, and now I'm waking up and now I realize that something is off. That surrounding very likely helps for the distributors to overspend. And it must be a very surprising awakening. Just like she said, 37,000 Canadian dollars over 11 years on smelly Scentsy wax. And she woke up and she started to do the math, because she didn't appreciate how Scentsy treated their distributors and their customers, how they communicated the changes themselves, and then afterwards that the CEO at some point said, you know what, I might need to jump on a Zoom call to actually talk to my people and to explain that to them and not just send something out in written form.
But sometimes it's good to be reminded. So I decided that what I'm gonna do going forward is I'm gonna enjoy out and what's available, and then move on to the next scent. There's always going to be another scent that I love, as opposed to holding on too tightly to the scents that I love and adore. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I think I spend a lot of money on these scents that I adore, because I'm like, well, what if I can't have them again, or whatever it is, right? And a little bit of that fear creeps in, a little bit of that like addiction creeps in, and I don't want that. That's not what I'm going for. So my strategy is going to be to not hold on as tight. And, you know, right now, if there's a scent that I love, I'll stock up and buy like 20 bars of it. I'm going to be like, you know what? Let me get 5 or 6 bars. Let me love it for what it is, and then progress forward, keep it moving. That's just for me, you know, just because like I obviously need to make some changes. Because we know.
Yeah, it's been a lot of money, and that will result in less money in Scentsy's pockets. If more and more people think like this, Scentsy is one of the next MLMs to drown.
So I thought it would be interesting to share this and just to, you know, show you these numbers. And I thought it was interesting that it's like, I'm not even running this as a business. Like, this is just for me. So, you know, and that's how much I've spent on Scentsy. So it's really something to reevaluate for me. So I hope that this was interesting for you. And I would love to know, you know, if you're making some changes, what your strategies are going to be for how much you're spending and all that kind of fun stuff. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
I find that really interesting, and I am grateful, like I said, that she did the math and that she said, I spent a ridiculous amount of money on products that I like, but I don't like the company anymore to the degree that I did before, and I will monitor my spending habits. I spent 37,000 Canadian dollars over the course of 11 years on Scentsy products, and I got recruited in a system as a distributor, although I'm just primarily a customer. That is weird. That is wild. And she will monitor that in the future. And if more people will start to monitor that, those who really think that they're running a business, those who really want to make a side income or a full-time income, or they want to be a big player, they want to make the big money in Scentsy, if they slowly but surely all start to wake up, then there will be a rude awakening for Scentsy. And I'm excited about that because it means that a lot of people will be saving a lot of their hard-earned money. It is in this day and age, it's not a necessity, it never is, of course, to have smelly things in your home. It is nice if you do, but if you have to watch out because you need to pay your mortgage or your rent, or you need to bring food on the table, and things get pricier and pricier, more and more people will cut out things that they don't need. So I am glad that more and more people are waking up. And if you operate like this for 11 years in a cult-like surrounding, and people will not point out to you, hey, your spending habits are strange. Have you ever taken a look how much money you spend? Then you will very likely spend that amount of money and so much more over a longer period of time without realizing that you're overspending. So I am glad that she's waking up. She said she's going to continue to purchase from Scentsy. Maybe Scentsy will turn fully retail at some point, which can be quite beneficial for actual customers, because then in that case, they don't need to get recruited into a pyramid scheme, into the pyramid scheme that Scentsy is operating as a network marketing company where the sales of the product is not necessarily being compensated as good as the recruitment of people, because otherwise we wouldn't recruit our customers. So stay tuned if you like these types of videos. In one of the upcoming videos, I will react to somebody in Scentsy who's at the top of the compensation plan at the superstar director rank, and that person has a completely different approach and has a completely different attitude. Also, watch out for other content creators, because Scentsy is currently a hot topic because it is in the news, at least in the anti-MLM world, in the anti-MLM news. And I think it is good to point out the flaws with Scentsy. So let's see how Scentsy develops over the course of the year. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment something down below, share the video. All of that helps the channel out a lot. And if you like these types of videos, then hopefully I will see you in my next one. Until then, tschüss!